Ladies and gentlemen, Money in the Bank has come and gone. And right now they have the post show on Peacock where they're discussing it with the analysts, with Biggie and Wade and Jay. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I loved everything about the show except for certain outcomes. I liked almost all of the matches. Almost all of the matches were great. Matter of fact, all of them were great. They were fun to watch. They and the women's Money in the Bank match was stellar. There were no hiccups in that match except for the outcome, in my opinion. Now, let's start off with the men's because that's what they started with. So that's what I'll start with. When it comes to the men's Money in the Bank, it was a solid match as well. I saw a lot of people online giving a lot WWE a lot of shit for the lineup in terms of the superstars that they put in this match. But what they did was balance everything out with the superstars that they had in there. They had high flyers, they had combo wrestlers, technically sound wrestlers, they had power wrestlers, they had people who were able to do the job. And in this case, this was a stellar men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Quite frankly, it was 10 times better than last year's Money in the Bank ladder match. I just did not like the winner solely because you wasted the Money in the Bank briefcase to continue a storyline that could have been continued without the briefcase being involved. Okay. Now, if you didn't watch it and you're coming here to get the recap, simplest explanation is this: Drew McIntyre was your winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match. He was able to go through 5 other competitors. More specifically, he took it away from Jey Uso. And like, no matter how many opportunities they give Jey Uso, he always only comes but so close. Then everything is pretty much taken away from him and he has to start over from scratch. In this case, Drew McIntyre came up after being taken out by everyone. He was able to come up and steal the briefcase, and he's champion. I mean, he was going to go on to use it to be champion. He made it very clear that he was cashing in that night. He was not waiting. And this led to a series of unfortunate events, more specifically for Drew McIntyre and for Seth freaking Rollins. So let's move out of the men's Money in the Bank and let's move into this title match. Again, a solid match between these two competitors. Everything Damian Priest was laying down, Seth had a counter for, and he looked really good. He had added some new pieces to his move set, but Damian Priest was also very capable of countering and compelling everything that Seth freaking Rollins was putting out there. It was not an easy fight for either one of them. As a matter of fact, it was a very hard fought battle. Where the tide changed is when Drew McIntyre decided to cash in, causing the match to become a triple threat. Very similar to what we've seen in prior instances when it comes to the briefcase. Even Seth did it at WrestleMania. He turned that match into a triple threat between Brock and Roman Reigns, if I recall. And this has happened before when we watched the women's breakout tournament where Lola turned a match into a triple threat and she ended up losing as well. The situation turned volatile beyond what it was the moment CM Punk reared his head. Now, everybody expected CM Punk to show up after the devastating attack that Drew McIntyre had on CM Punk. But not only that, with the incessant taunting that he had been doing for the last couple of weeks, it was inevitable that CM Punk would show up. The problem here is not only did CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the match, he also inadvertently cost Seth freaking Rollins the match because of his involvement and his incessant need to get revenge on Drew McIntyre. This has directly affected Seth. So much so that due to the stipulation that was put in place by his own mouth, and of course, Damian Priest's Word. He can no longer challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship as long as Priest is champion. So this is going to leave a sour taste in Seth freaking Rollins' mouth. He already despises CM Punk, and this has only added fuel to the fire. But not only that, but there's a Scottish psychopath that's going to be running around on Monday Night Raw wreaking havoc because yet again, CM Punk has cost him an opportunity. Now, outside of kayfabe, this was an unnecessary way to set this up. Quite frankly, you could have set this up as a triple threat from the very beginning and then moved into the space of having CM Punk come in and cost Drew McIntyre the title, as well as cost Seth. I don't have an issue with adding fuel to the fire with Seth freaking Rollins and building that feud up along with Drew McIntyre. Because what I'm looking at and where I see it and where my mind is going is that at Hell in a Cell, which is going to be in Bad Blood on October 5th, I see this being a triple threat and not just any triple threat, but a triple threat inside of the Hell in a Cell. At least that's how I would book it. Because there's no way that Seth freaking Rollins is going to let this go, and there's no way that Drew's going to let this go. And then you have CM Punk. And this is not going to end. You've got three men with three vendettas, and each vendetta is valid against each man. So it's never going to end. It's going to be a vicious cycle of one attacking the other. And we're going to be stuck if they don't get this ended and move forward. However, I don't think Seth's feud with CM Punk is going to end so abruptly, but I do think that CM Punk's feud with Drew is. I think it's going to come to an end inside that cell. However, since we're killing two birds with one stone, I say add Seth in there and let's wreak some havoc. Since you want to cause chaos, it looks like you caused enough chaos for one night today. You might as well keep putting kerosene on that fire, as far as I'm concerned. But those are two matches that didn't necessarily go the way that I wanted, but they were good matches nonetheless. They were fun to watch. It was high octane and you didn't really know how things were going to turn out. And you definitely didn't know because all night Triple H was serving us the entire fucking night. There was no definitive answer of who was going to win what. And quite frankly, it was a whirlwind to watch Money in the Bank today. But I still stand by the fact that it was a solid show. We're going to move on to the next one as soon as I get through these comments over here. And shout out to y'all for coming in early and on time. Everybody's a top commenter of the day today. All right. Hello to you, DeAndre. How are you? Hello, Kayla. Hello, Don. Hello, Kenny. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. I'm not gonna beat your ass if you don't if you don't subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it if you would. What happened? I'm so annoyed with all the matches except for Sammy. Like I said, I know that everything didn't turn out the way that we wanted it, but I think it turned out for the way that it should have gone. And at least in some cases. I'll get to the women's Money in the Bank in a minute. Everybody's speaking to each other. Cool, cool. Awesome sauce. Drew was on. Now he pushed Pierce. Well, I don't know why he mad. I mean, he didn't have no problem with attacking CM Punk in Chicago. So, like I said, turnabout is fair play. Drew just came out and flipped that after show up. Oh, did he? I'm just sad for the other men in the Money in the Bank match. Where does Naomi go from here? Naomi can't even get anything. I'm sick. I'm gonna address Naomi in a second. So the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women also happened, and it was the best match of the night. It was so much fun to watch. I liked everybody in this match, including January 6th. Zoe did good as well. I ain't gonna shit on her. Everybody did great. This match was stellar. It is the match of the night. It was absolutely a banger. It is something that you can go back and rewatch and truly enjoy in a rewatch. There were so many things happening in this match. Is the women truly understand the idea of a money in the bank ladder match. They understand the idea of what chaos would look like, a controlled chaos. They were using those ladders to their advantage. They made sure each person had their moment to shine. They weren't out there doing the most and being extra for no reason. Everything had a point. Everything had a message. Everything had a point that they hit. And it was just fun to watch. It was fun to watch them. They were excellent in every aspect of the game. Okay, they were beautiful. So shout out to everybody, and I mean everybody that was in this match, because they put on a stellar performance. And this, quite frankly, is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, women's Money in the Bank match that I've ever seen. And there haven't been many. So this is a massive accolade for the women. They put on a clinic of how you're supposed to do this, but make it fun and make it entertaining. You did not know who was going to win. It was so much happening at one time. And ultimately, Tiffany Stratton was able to go and get the briefcase and become the next Women's Money in the Bank winner. I wasn't happy with Tiffany Stratton winning, but it is what it is. Everybody else seemed to be all for it, but it is what it is. Y'all can have that. I am going to not pay attention to it because it's not something that I really care about. The only thing I can say is when Nia Jax wins the women's title from Bailey, this is going to be interesting to see how their little friendship dynamic will last while Tiffany Stratton is walking around with a ticking time bomb in her hand and Nia Jax is just now becoming champion. It's going to be interesting, and that's the only upside to her winning Money in the Bank. As far as Naomi goes, a lot of people seem to be upset because everybody had her pegged to win. Okay, but here's the thing: what we wanted and what they have planned out are two different things. And y'all forget, opportunities come in many different ways. Not everything is meant for everybody. And Naomi is a veteran. She's not a noob. So I could understand if she was like, she was fresh out the gate and was coming in and she had this opportunity and she didn't win. And even then, I would say give her time and she'll be able to come in and win. Okay, y'all can't rush everything. Well, I know you want to see Naomi at the top, and don't get me wrong, I love her, and I would love to see her get one more title run that she actually has, that works out for her, that isn't some bullshit title run for her, but a real title run that she can actually defend that championship, have true rivalries with, and end up putting somebody else over with. I would love that. But at the moment, right now, where we are, that's just not for her in the cards. But that doesn't mean that Naomi won't get what is deserving to her. Her time in the E, in terms of her, the spotlight being on her, is coming. And if you notice, she does not have the same visceral reaction that everybody else has. And we all have to take a page out of her book. Sometimes it's okay for you to be in the back waving the leaf. You are not always going to be the one holding the roles and having the spotlight. And that's okay because you work together as a team in this company and in wrestling in general to put on the show for all of us. Naomi will get her time. But for right now, I think she is okay and content with where she is. She is seen on TV weekly, and that says a lot because there are girls in the back right now who you never see. Tegan Knox being one of them. Okay. And she very well could just be regaled to dark matches and live shows only. All right. So let's be thankful. And I'm not saying we have to be thankful on our hands and knees, begging and saying, thank God WWE put her on TV. But we should be appreciative that she is being showcased the way that she is. She's a strong competitor. She's not weak. Just because you lose a match does not make you a jobber. Okay. And she's still one of the top performing superstars in this company because of fans like y'all who incessantly seek her out to be seen and to be heard. So y'all don't have to worry about her. She will be fine. She will be just fine. And like I said, There are other opportunities that Naomi can pursue. It always doesn't have to be what you think it is. Sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? With that being said, let's move on to the rest of the show. So Sami Zayn was the second matchup in the show, and Sami and Braun had a very good match. Braun looked strong. He actually performed well. There was no bullshit squash. Both men performed, but I can tell you right now, Sami Zayn won that title by the skin of his teeth. He was inches, minutes, seconds, okay, from losing his championship and Braun Breaker be having his first Intercontinental Championship title, okay? And I think it's only a matter of time. By SummerSlam, Braun Breaker is going to be Intercontinental Champion. This is not over between Sami Zayn and Braun, but this is what they wanted. I know that Braun and Sami are going to fight again, and I figured that this was not going to be the stop. It's going to be at SummerSlam in Cleveland when Sami drops that championship. And then Sami's probably going to take a long break, focus on his comedy and, start his comedy shit. But, and if that's the case, that's a break he damn sure earned. You know what I'm saying? Well, we need a first failed, and I wouldn't be so sure about that. Wouldn't be so sure about that. And to those of y'all that are so for Naomi, don't pull that fickle shit once they put a title on her, because y'all are good for it. I mean, she got a point, because that's exactly what y'all did with Cody when he became champ. You straight up turned on him right after that. It was like instant. Now, why they changed that music? It was not it. Whose music are you referring to? I didn't hear any change in anybody's music. All right, so we have covered four matches so far. We got one match left. I'm only 18 minutes in, child. The Bloodline match was a decent match. I don't think I would have closed the show with this match. I think they should have switched the World Heavyweight Championship match with the Bloodline match. That's just me. Because there wasn't a lot going on in this match. While I enjoyed the match and I think all the men performed exceptionally well, especially Kevin, given his mental state and what's going on with his mom, he was out there putting out everything he had in this match. Okay. I do have to say, however, that I feel like it felt like they were gonna put something in this match, like they were gonna put this match out there, and there was something lingering in the background, like somebody knew was gonna pop up, but they didn't. It didn't really have that ending finisher type of show match that we're used to. And while I do enjoy watching, a faction fight it out and get their dominance and finally, get their win so they can solidify themselves and of course begin the feud with Cody and Solo. I don't know. To me, this match fell flat in terms of feeling any type of emotion towards it or about it. I just didn't care enough about what was happening between the two of them. Do I care about what we're gonna see leading up to SummerSlam? Absolutely, because I'm curious as to how this is going to play out. There are two ways that this can work. Roman comes back at SummerSlam and then begins the build of the fight between him and Solo, or Roman waits until after Bash at Berlin or at Bash at Berlin and then pops up at SummerSlam, because um there is no pay-per-view in August as we know. As of right now, September is completely blank in terms of pay-per-views. But October has a pay-per-view on the 5th. Now they may do Payback in September. They usually do have a pay-per-view each month. It seems like they have one every 3 weeks, almost every 4 weeks they have one. So they may add Payback in there, but they're not advertising for Payback. They're advertising for Bad Blood right now, because Bad Blood's going to be in Atlanta. And this is what I was telling you guys before that they were bringing back Bad Blood, but they're not advertising any pay-per-view for September. So it's very, very interesting what could happen there. I don't know. I didn't hear a change in Braun's music, but then again, I had the TV turned down, so sorry. With what happened in that match, it should have been the closer. Exactly. I think that they got the order wrong in terms of the matches, especially with the emotion that they had with Seth freaking Rollins there, CM Punk being there, and like coming to realizing that he got screwed once again. I feel like they should have flipped that. They should have flipped that. Maybe it's another break. Maybe Don. I'm not sure, but would I be mad about it if it is? No. I wouldn't necessarily be mad about it. They deserve a break if that's the case. Especially with them going over to Berlin at the end of the month in August. But something about the way the schedule has been set up leads me to believe that that's not the case. Because I don't even think they've had a month's break since Backlash. Like since Backlash, they have been going strong. You know what I'm saying? Each month there's at least one pay-per-view. So I'm not sure, but there's got in between SummerSlam and Bad Blood. I suspect that the real tribal chief Roman Reigns will rear his head back in the E, and we'll see. Now we did hear today that Sika was put laid to rest today, and Jay couldn't be there due to the fact that he had the match, and the men's match was put up first today. Um, They definitely alluded to the landscape of WWE changing. And the last thing that I want to talk about is John Cena's retirement. John Cena came out during the show. Where are you going? Can I have some? John Cena came out during the show and basically told everybody that he was retiring. That 2025 will be his last run, and WWE's WrestleMania in Las Vegas will be his final match. It'll be his farewell. So I suspect if I was WWE, I would have induct him in the Hall of Fame immediately. Um, he definitely deserves to go in, so I would have him inducted. Um, that's kind of a somber moment for me because I love John Cena. I loved John Cena when I started back watching wrestling and he showed up. I was there. I was around when he popped up on SmackDown for his first ever match with Kurt Angle. I saw all of that. I saw everything and I've seen his rise in WWE and I've seen his tapering off where he would have like one match a year. Um and now John Cena is retiring. So it's a little bit of a bittersweet pill. I think that it's definitely something that he should do now that he has the time to do so. But John Cena, he was my hero growing up. I always saw him as the ultimate face guy, and I loved him for that, and I still do. So he was one of my favorite people, and I'm gonna cry. I'm definitely gonna cry at WrestleMania when he officially retires in he has his last match. Um I cried a little bit while he was out there giving his speech. Um so yeah, John Cena is retiring. Drew McIntyre is pissed, per the usual. Seth freaking Rollins is pissed. Tiffany Stratton's gonna be more annoying than ever. And there's no men's money in the bank. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the briefcase being non existent. When it comes to the money in the bank, I always like the money in the bank because of its ability to be integrated into pretty much anything. And because the briefcase has a contract that determines who can be who can finally get their stripes and their trajectory of their career changes after being awarded that money in the bank briefcase. I feel like in these instances, using the briefcase to further cement a storyline is unnecessary and very, very unfair to the competitors and to the superstars in the back who truly deserve to compete for the opportunity and deserve to earn it. Now, this is no disrespect to Triple H and the team, but sometimes you guys have to think outside the box. Not everything has to be so easy for you. You could have made this harder. Adam Pierce could have been strong armed like he's been being strong armed by Drew and put in the world title match, and he could have weaseled his way in. You still could have had CM Punk cost him the title. Okay. You still could have had this situation with him, Punk, and with Seth, Punk, and Drew. You still could have had all of that without wasting the briefcase for the men this year. Now I understand that last year Priest held that title all year long, and people were tired of it. They didn't even think he was ever going to cash it in. They thought it was going to be failed. But this year, you had the opportunity to set something up that could have worked out in your favor going into next year's Money in the Bank or possibly before it. You wasted it and you squandered an opportunity to truly give somebody a chance. You had all of these men in here, sans Drew McIntyre, who have earned the right to be able to call themselves Mr. Money in the Bank. And Drew McIntyre gets the briefcase, and it's all for nothing. And it's not fair. It just seems like you just wasted our time and you wasted all five of these competitors' time. You wasted it. Because that briefcase didn't have to go down like that. It really, it was just disappointing. Do you think Finn will play a factor in SummerSlam? He doesn't have to. I mean, this is Gunther, for God's sake. He doesn't have to. If it were me, he would have lost that title a long time ago, if I'm being honest. Um, but he doesn't have to. However, he probably will. Ben seems to be very angry with Damian Priest for how he's been acting and how obviously he has treated the Judgment Day. And to be fair, by the way that they've operated under Rhea's rule and now with Damian Priest, you had two very separate ideologies of how the Judgment Day should be run and how they should operate. When it comes to Rhea Ripley, she was all about coveting them and protecting them, even at the expense of her own title reign. But when it comes to Damian Priest, he's very much about proving himself as a champion. And Judgment Day business is just that. It's Judgment Day business. Those are two separate entities. Him being champion and the Judgment Day as a whole and as a group. He doesn't put them first like Rhea Ripley does. And he doesn't feel like he should have to because he feels like these men should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. As far as I'm concerned, if I were Damian Priest, I would be going back to them and making them feel more like they're my family, and at least giving them the illusion that I do need you. And as much as I want to say that I don't, I do. I love y'all like a family, and I appreciate that y'all are always there for me by my side, helping me maintain this because I need y'all. They need to hear that. In order for him to keep himself alive in the Judgment Day, he's gonna have to say that to them at some point. But the seed has already been planted and growing with Finn Balor. Do I think Finn Balor is going to play a role at SummerSlam? This is very possible. All of Damian Priest's matches have had interference of some kind, and I suspect that Damian Priest will probably have interference in this match as well. But this time, it's not going to work out in his favor. In fact, I think it's going to lead to a fight between him and Finn going into Bad Blood if Rhea doesn't show up by then. Even if she does, So everybody that can comment in the comment section, y'all let me know what you thought about Money in the Bank. Do you think that it was a great show? Do you think that it was a bad show? So let's do a rating. We'll do 1 through 5. 5 being it was solid, perfect show. 1 being it was bullshit. It was terrible. So let me know in the comments what y'all thought about it. Give me the ratings. I'll give y'all 30 seconds. Here we go. All right, so I got some comments. Let's look and see what everybody else rated the show as. Ooh, these are some low ratings. Well, not really. 4.5, which means it was pretty decent. I know Danny Harris says, I know that we still have Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble, but like you say, it was disappointing. 4.2, 4.5, 3. The matches were fine. The order wasn't good. And a 4. So the average is like somewhere around 4 point. I put it at a 4.6, 4.7, 4.6. It was good. Just had a lot of botches from Zoe to Damien not kicking out on time. I won't say it had a lot of botches. I mean, Zoe, I didn't see no botch from Zoe. Damien not kicking out on time, yeah, that was a botch, but the ref caught it, so it was fine. A 4, yeah, it's about a 4.5. Okay. Anyways, so tomorrow we got another PLE, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna be screaming at the TV once again. Oh, we get no breaks here. We're tired. We're exhausted. Okay, we are spent. We are spent, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to press on because Money in the Bank is over. She is gone. She is done. And now it is time to talk about NXT. So if you don't watch NXT, you definitely should because you are really missing out on a solid show. And they have booked a pretty decent show here with NXT right now. So let me just get the infographics up for you guys. Here we go. What's wrong?
No, DeMar DeRozan signed with Sacramento.
The Kings?
Yeah.
Why?
He was a free agent. Everybody thought the Lakers was gonna pull it off. He ended up signing with Sacramento.
Okay.
And then the details of the sign and trade with fucking Klay Thompson going to Dallas was he had 6 teams involved.
6 teams for Klay Thompson to go to Dallas.
It was a sign and trade, so it was 6 teams involved. Dallas got Klay, of course,
right,
and a second round pick for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota got a 2031 second round pick swap and a 2025 second round pick in cash. Golden State got Kyle Anderson and Buddy Hield. Denver got cash. The Hornets got Josh Green, Reggie Jackson, the 2029 second round pick, the 2030 second round pick.
Wow.
And then Philly got a 2031 second round pick.
Okay. That's a lot.
Right.
All right. So NXT Heat Wave is tomorrow, July 7th. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I thought that the show was going to start at 8 for Money in the Bank, but it started at 7.
Yeah.
So they got us out of here at 10 o'clock. We was ready to roll and come on.
That was one idea.
Right. So tomorrow Heat Wave is gonna start at 6. Okay, so the first show is gonna be it's gonna be on a countdown. The countdown is gonna have one match on it, and it's gonna be Carmen and Ariana versus JC and Jasmine. So Carmen and Ariana are both from Toronto, so they are going to be in Toronto for this particular PLE. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win. But like I said yesterday, I think this W might go to Carmen and Ariana. Chase U is facing off against Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I think Chase U is going to get the titles back, and I think it's going to be because of Rich Holland. Axiom and Frazier have not been on the same page as of lately, with Frazier constantly wanting to do his own thing, despite the fact that he was the one who begged and pleaded for Axiom to be his partner. He has not been checked in and focused, and that's why I think that Chase U might get these tag team titles back. Moving into another title scene, we have the women's NXT championship. It is being contested. Kaylani is the first NXT women's North American champion, and so is her challenger. Her first one was Michin, and Michin, while she gave her a good run for her money, she did come up short. Kaylani is going up against Sol Ruka, and this plans to be a pretty decent fight between the two of them. However, I do not believe that Kaylani is going to drop this title to Sol, not just yet. I think Sol's going to get the title, but she's going to get it later on down the line. Now, if she does get it Sunday, I'll be shocked, honestly, but it'll be a good win for Sol because I really do like Sol Ruka. Moving into Oba Femi, the ruler, and of course, Wes Lee, the cardiac kid, as they like to call him. Both of these men are absolutely stellar wrestlers, but unfortunately for Wesley, I think his time in the North American title scene is up. As long as Obafemi is champion, if he loses, he will never be able to challenge for that championship again. And just like Seth freaking Rollins learned his lesson today, unfortunately, it was out of his hands and control. The powers that be may also have the same fate waiting for Wesley. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But if I had to be a betting woman, I would put my money on Oba Femi. Moving into the main title scene, the women's championship is also being contested. Roxanne Perez has been a stellar heel champion, but she has never come across an opponent in terms of Lola Vice. And Lola has a powerful strike. She's got a good kick on her, she's a good striker. And of course, Roxanne Perez is going to rest on her wrestling prowess to try to defeat even though Lola has a superior strength on her that Roxanne does have to watch out for. With all that being said, Roxanne Perez is not the NXT Women's Champion by happenstance. There's a reason why she is champion and why she's been able to maintain herself on the top as champion. And I think Lola Vice will figure that out very, very soon. Despite all your training and all your MMA ability, you cannot deny that Roxanne Perez is probably one of the best women's champions in NXT history. And in fact, she's going to prove that on Sunday because I'm putting my money on Roxanne Perez. I don't know about y'all, but that's where I'm going to go. And finally, we have a fatal four-way for the men's NXT championship. All three men claim to have stake in wanting to face off against Trick Williams. Only two of them, in my mind, have legitimacy. The other one has weaseled his way into this match, unfortunately. Now, Trick Williams is a fighting champion and he has yet to turn down a challenge. So, when a battle royal was issued to determine who Trick Williams' next opponent would be, of course, every competitor in the building jumped at the chance. It was Javon Evans, though, who was able to get the win and showcase himself as the number one contender for Trick Williams' championship. But there was a hitch in that plan. You see, earlier in that battle royal, Ethan Page was attacked by Oro Mensa, and these attacks have been coming every single week. And every chance Ethan Page is alone or out, he is attacked by Oro Mensa. Now, Oro made it very clear that he was going after Page no matter what. Hold on, y'all. I got to plug up my computer. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a blank screen. Okay. So he made it very clear that he was not done with Ethan Page and he was going to take him out one way or another. And for the most part, he's been making good on that promise. However, he's been banned from traveling to Toronto by Ava. However, we know that most of the time the superstars don't pay attention to what the GM say, no way. So we just have to wait and see how this plays out. However, due to Oro Mensa's actions, Ethan Page had a legitimate gripe and a fair fair. He made a fair complaint about not being the number one contender and never being eliminated in the battle royal. Now, when it comes to Sean Spears had no true complaint or a fair. he had no fair right to this particular match at all. The way that he got himself in was that he claimed he beat Javon Evans, therefore he should be the one to go up against Trick Williams. So Trick Williams, being the champion that he is, challenged Sean Spears to a match to which he ended up getting knocked out by Brooks Jensen during the match. And this gave Sean Spears a W over the champion, which allowed him to have a legitimate gripe about him being able to challenge the champion, seeing as how he beat the champion. So Ava created a match that would appease everyone. You all have an equal shot at the championship. Everybody has an opportunity to get it. 25% chance of winning that title back, including the champion. And in this match, the champion does not have to be pinned. In fact, anybody can be pinned to be champion. So the question is, who is going to win? It's very likely that Ethan Page could walk out of NXT Heatwave as champion, but I would think that would be a severe disservice and an extreme backtrack. I don't understand why they would do it that way, but they could. Me personally, I think they should give it back to Trick Williams, run it back between him and Ethan Page, and let Ethan Page get it that way, if that's the way you want to go. I don't think Javon Evans is going to get the title anytime soon. But then again, from what we've been witnessing when it comes to the main roster and NXT, they have been doing everything in their power to swerve all of us. So we don't know what the hell going on. And it looked like we just going to have to watch, wait, and see. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed Money in the Bank. It can be a hard watch if you're not getting what you want. But instead of watching it to see who's going to win, watch it to enjoy the matches that we got, because that's the best part. We got great storytelling and we got amazing matches out of that show. And I'll have to say that if I had to give it a rating from 1 through 5, I would say it gets a good 4.8. There was a few hiccups on the road, but for the most part, they did everything they set out to do. They shocked the audience. They gave us some obvious wins that we weren't expecting. And of course, they are leading us down the road to SummerSlam, which it plans to be a pretty decent time. With all that being said, ladies and gents, I am your girl Tiffany E, and I will see you guys tomorrow after NXT Heatwave. I appreciate y'all and I love y'all for coming through. And to everybody who was sharing my video of me again going up against Jada Parker, I appreciate y'all and I love y'all for that. Mia Yim now follows me on Instagram because of that, so I appreciate it. Y'all know y'all my peoples, and I appreciate y'all and I love y'all. And if y'all rock with me, then I'm gonna rock with you. Wherever I go, I'm taking y'all with me. Okay? So make sure you guys continue to follow me on all my socials. It's just basically scrolling on the bottom. Podcast is up as well. The recent episode has some technical difficulties, but it will be re-uploaded tonight if you want to listen to it. We covered both Money in the Bank and NXT, so I'm gonna re-upload that episode, and you guys can go ahead and listen to the show. And I appreciate y'all for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.